Cultural anthropology, as a discipline, delves into the complexities of human societies, exploring the diverse ways in which people live, interact, and construct meaning. It examines cultural practices, social structures, belief systems, and the intricate web of relationships that define communities across the globe. By studying these elements, cultural anthropologists seek to understand how cultures develop, sustain themselves, and evolve over time. Our analysis adopts a unique, structured approach to examining cultural anthropology, utilizing a set of patterns identified through affirmed, positive, and negated, negative triads. This method allows us to systematically explore and categorize the relationships and dynamics within cultures, providing a nuanced understanding of how various cultural elements influence each other. We begin by introducing the fundamental concepts of our analytic framework, which is based on patterns of mutually influencing elements categorized into 10 distinct triads. These triads encompass different types of relationships, such as coexistence, reinforcement, causal connections, non-linear dynamics, and more. Each triad offers a lens through which we can examine specific anthropological phenomena, providing insights into how cultural systems operate and interact. Affirmed triads represent positive, constructive relationships, where elements support and enhance one another. These triads include patterns like coexistence, where different cultural components mutually sustain each other, and reinforcement, where cultural practices and beliefs strengthen over time through cyclical interactions. Negated triads focus on negative, constraining relationships where elements hinder or limit each other. These include patterns such as equilibrium, where opposing cultural forces maintain a delicate balance, and feedback, where negative consequences reinforce compliance with social norms. By applying these patterns to specific examples from cultural anthropology, we aim to illustrate the complex and dynamic nature of cultural interactions. This structured approach not only highlights the interconnectedness of cultural elements, but also provides a systematic way to analyze and understand the diversity and richness of human societies. Through this analysis, we explore how different cultural phenomena epitomize these patterns, offering detailed explanations and real-world examples to elucidate the logical relationships within each triad. This method allows us to capture the intricate ways in which cultures adapt, evolve, and maintain their unique identities amidst a constantly changing world. Coexistence, example, kinship systems in indigenous tribes. Explanation. In many indigenous tribes, the family, clan, and tribe structures are deeply interwoven. Families are part of clans, which in turn belong to larger tribal groups. Each unit supports the others. Families rely on the clan for social and economic support. Clans depend on families for their continued existence and contributions. And tribes encompass multiple clans to form a cohesive larger group. This interconnectedness ensures that cultural practices, social support systems, and resource-sharing mechanisms are sustained, maintaining the stability and continuity of the community. Equilibrium, example, balance between traditional and modern roles in transitional societies. Explanation, societies undergoing modernization often find a delicate balance between preserving traditional roles and adopting modern ones. For instance, in many transitional societies, traditional roles related to family, community, and cultural practices coexist with modern roles related to employment, technology, and individualism. This balance is crucial to avoid social disruption. Traditional roles provide stability and continuity, while modern roles bring innovation and development. Maintaining equilibrium between these opposing dynamics allows societies to transition smoothly without losing their cultural identity. Reinforcement, example. Religious rituals in Hinduism. Explanation. In Hinduism, religious rituals are central to reinforcing belief systems. These rituals, which include practices like puja, worship, festivals, and rites of passage, strengthen the community's faith and social bonds. The shared experience of participating in these rituals fosters a sense of belonging and communal identity, which in turn reinforces the beliefs that underpin these practices. This cyclical reinforcement helps sustain the religious and social fabric of Hindu communities over generations. Feedback, example, social norms and sanctions in Amish communities. Explanation, Amish communities rely on feedback mechanisms to maintain their social norms. When individuals deviate from accepted behaviors, they face social sanctions such as shunning or exclusion from community activities. These sanctions serve as a deterrent and encourage individuals to conform to community standards. The fear of social ostracism reinforces adherence to norms, creating a feedback loop that ensures conformity and the maintenance of traditional Amish ways of life. This system helps preserve the community's cultural integrity and cohesion. Causal. Example, resource scarcity and social stratification in developing nations. Explanation. In many developing nations, the availability of resources directly impacts economic practices and social structures. For example, limited access to water, land or minerals can determine the types of economic activities that are feasible, such as agriculture or mining. These economic activities, in turn, influence social stratification by creating hierarchies based on resource control and wealth. Consequently, the scarcity or abundance of resources has a direct causal relationship with the social and economic organization of these societies. Reversion. Example: cultural revivals in post-colonial societies. Explanation: post-colonial societies often experience efforts to revive traditional cultures that were suppressed or altered during colonial rule. The loss of traditional practices and identities during colonial times can lead to a cultural discontent and a desire to reconnect with ancestral heritage. This discontent fuels revival movements that aim to restore traditional languages, customs and beliefs. These movements seek to reverse the cultural changes imposed by colonization and re-establish a sense of cultural identity and continuity. Non-linear. Example: impacts of migration on urban culture. Explanation: migration to urban areas leads to a complex web of cultural and economic changes. Migrants bring their cultural practices, which influence the local culture through the introduction of new foods, traditions and languages. These cultural exchanges can have significant economic impacts, such as the creation of ethnic businesses and markets. The resulting economic changes, in turn, affect further migration patterns as people move to areas where their cultural communities are thriving. This non-linear relationship shows how migration, culture and economy are interlinked in multifaceted ways. Retrospective. Example: colonial impact on modern African nations. Explanation: the current social and economic challenges faced by many African nations can be traced back to their colonial histories. Colonial practices often involved exploitation, resource extraction, and the imposition of foreign governance structures. These historical factors have left lasting legacies, such as economic dependency, social inequality, and political instability. By examining these past influences, we can better understand the root causes of contemporary issues and the ongoing struggles for development and self-determination in these nations. Inclusive. Example: cultural syncretism in Latin America. Explanation: Latin America is a region where cultural syncretism is prevalent, meaning that diverse cultural traditions blend to form new, inclusive cultural practices. For instance, indigenous, African and European influences merge in religious practices, culinary traditions and music. This blending creates a unique cultural identity that incorporates elements from multiple sources. Festivals like Carnival, which mix indigenous, African and Iberian elements, exemplify how inclusive cultural processes can create rich hybrid traditions that unify diverse communities. Exclusive. Example: ethnic segregation in urban America. Explanation: ethnic segregation in urban America is an example of exclusive cultural dynamics. Historical practices like redlining and discriminatory housing policies have led to the creation of ethnically homogeneous neighborhoods. These boundaries reinforce social separation and limit interactions between different ethnic groups. As a result, cultural practices and identities become more insular, and economic disparities are exacerbated. The exclusivity of these neighborhoods maintains cultural and economic divides, perpetuating segregation and social inequality. Conjoined. Example: interdependence in Polynesian chiefdoms. Explanation: in Polynesian chiefdoms, political power, economic activities and social structures are deeply interdependent. The chiefs, Political leaders control vital resources and oversee economic activities, such as agriculture and fishing. These economic activities support the community's social structure by providing the necessary resources for festivals, rituals, and daily life. In return, the social cohesion of the community supports the authority of the chiefs. This interdependence ensures the stability and sustainability of the chiefdom, as each aspect relies on the others for its functioning. Bottlenecked. Example, resource depletion in Easter Island. Explanation, Easter Island's history provides a stark example of a bottlenecked system. The islanders' over-exploitation of natural resources, particularly the deforestation for building statues and other uses, led to severe environmental degradation. As trees disappeared, the islanders could no longer build canoes for fishing, leading to food shortages. The decline in resources directly impacted the population's health and social structures, creating a bottleneck that led to societal collapse. This example shows how critical resource depletion can constrain and ultimately devastate a society. Harmonic. Example, community festivals in Balinese culture. Explanation. In Balinese culture, community festivals exemplify harmonic relationships. These festivals integrate music, dance, and spiritual rituals, creating a cohesive and vibrant cultural expression. Music and dance are performed as part of religious ceremonies, enhancing the communal experience and reinforcing social bonds. The interplay between these elements creates a harmonious environment where cultural traditions are celebrated and preserved. This harmonic interaction ensures the perpetuation of cultural heritage through shared, joyous experiences. Dissonant. Example, ethnic conflicts in the Balkans. Explanation, the Balkans have experienced significant ethnic conflicts characterized by dissonant relationships. Ethnic tension often leads to political instability and social unrest, creating a cycle of conflict. These tensions disrupt social harmony and can result in violence, displacement, and economic decline. The dissonance between ethnic groups exacerbates divisions, making reconciliation and peace-building efforts challenging. This example highlights how discordant interactions between ethnic groups can lead to prolonged conflict and societal fragmentation. Convergent. Example, globalization's impact on urban cultures. Explanation, globalization drives convergence in urban cultures worldwide. Technological advancements facilitate economic integration and cultural exchange, leading to more homogeneous urban environments. Cities across the globe adopt similar technological innovations, economic practices, and cultural trends, creating a shared urban experience. This convergence is evident in the widespread presence of multinational corporations, international cuisine, and global media. While this fosters a sense of global community, it also raises concerns about the erosion of local cultures and identities. Divergent. Example, fragmentation in post-Soviet states. Explanation, in post-Soviet states, the dissolution of the Soviet Union led to divergent social, political, and economic paths. Political divisions and the emergence of national identities resulted in social fragmentation. Economic disparities grew as some regions prospered while others struggled. This divergence created distinct cultural and political landscapes within and between these states, leading to conflicts and instability. The varying trajectories highlight the challenges of transitioning from a unified state to independent nations with diverse interests and identities. Combination. Example, hybrid identities in multicultural societies. Explanation. Multicultural societies often produce hybrid identities, combining elements from various cultural backgrounds. For instance, individuals in multicultural cities like New York or London may blend traditions from their heritage with local customs, creating unique cultural expressions. This combination can be seen in fusion cuisine, fashion, and festivals that incorporate diverse influences. Hybrid identities enrich the cultural landscape, fostering inclusivity and innovation while also navigating the complexities of multiple cultural affiliations. Division. Example, social stratification in caste systems. Explanation, social stratification in caste systems, such as in India, exemplifies division. The caste system divides society into hierarchical groups based on inherited status, dictating social interactions, occupations, and marriage prospects. This rigid structure creates clear boundaries and perpetuates inequality, limiting social mobility. The division entrenched by the caste system reinforces economic and social disparities, maintaining a stratified society where opportunities and resources are unevenly distributed. Association. Example: political alliances in African nations. Explanation. In African nations, political alliances are often formed based on shared interests and cultural values. Countries with common goals and cultural affinities collaborate to achieve mutual benefits, such as economic development, security, and regional stability. These alliances can strengthen diplomatic ties, enhance trade relationships, and foster collective action on issues like climate change and health crises. The association between these nations creates a network of support and cooperation, contributing to regional integration and solidarity. Disassociation, example, cultural alienation in migrant communities. Explanation. Migrant communities frequently experience cultural alienation, feeling disconnected from both their homeland and the host society. This disassociation can lead to identity crises as migrants struggle to balance their cultural heritage with the need to assimilate. Factors such as language barriers, discrimination, and economic challenges exacerbate this sense of alienation. The lack of belonging and recognition in the host society can result in social isolation and mental health issues, highlighting the difficulties migrants face in navigating dual cultural identities. Integration. Example: multicultural policies in Canada. Explanation. Canada's multicultural policies promote the integration of diverse cultural groups into a cohesive society. These policies encourage immigrants to maintain their cultural identities while participating in the broader Canadian society. Programs supporting language learning, cultural festivals, and anti-discrimination laws foster an inclusive environment where diversity is celebrated. This integration model aims to create social harmony by valuing and incorporating the contributions of all cultural groups, enhancing national unity and enriching the cultural fabric. Disintegration. Example: societal breakdown in Somalia. Explanation: Somalia's ongoing conflict and instability exemplify societal disintegration. The collapse of central governance in the early 1990s led to the fragmentation of the state into competing factions and clans. This disintegration has resulted in chronic violence, economic collapse, and humanitarian crises. The lack of a unifying national identity and effective government has made it difficult to address these challenges, perpetuating a cycle of conflict and instability. The disintegration of societal structures underscores the importance of cohesive governance and social unity for national stability. Our exploration of cultural anthropology through the lens of affirmed and negated triads has revealed several unifying themes that underscore the complexity and interconnectedness of human societies. By systematically applying our analytic framework, we have uncovered the following key themes. Across all our examples, one prominent theme is the profound interconnectedness of cultural elements. Whether it is the kinship systems in indigenous tribes or the integration of diverse cultural groups in Canada, cultural practices, beliefs, and social structures are deeply intertwined. Each component influences and is influenced by others, creating a dynamic web of interactions that shape the cultural landscape. This mutual influence highlights the importance of understanding cultural elements not in isolation but as parts of a larger, interconnected system. Many of our examples, such as the balance between traditional and modern roles in transitional societies or the equilibrium in Amish communities, emphasize the ongoing negotiation between preserving traditional values and embracing modern innovations. This theme underscores the adaptive nature of cultures as they strive to maintain continuity while also evolving to meet new challenges. The ability to balance these forces is crucial for the sustainability and resilience of cultural identities. Our analysis reveals that cultures employ various reinforcement and feedback mechanisms to maintain social norms, beliefs, and practices. Rituals in Hinduism reinforce religious beliefs and community bonds, while social sanctions in Amish communities ensure conformity to norms. These mechanisms are vital for the perpetuation of cultural traditions and the regulation of social behavior. ensuring that cultural values are consistently upheld and transmitted across generations. Cultural phenomena often exhibit non-linear and complex dynamics, as seen in the impacts of migration on urban culture or the historical legacies of colonialism in African nations. These examples illustrate that cultural changes do not follow straightforward linear paths, but are influenced by multiple interdependent factors. Understanding these complexities requires a nuanced approach that accounts for the diverse and sometimes unpredictable interactions within cultural systems. The themes of inclusivity and exclusivity are central to our analysis. Inclusive processes, such as cultural syncretism in Latin America or hybrid identities in multicultural societies, demonstrate the creative and adaptive potential of cultures to blend and integrate diverse elements. Conversely, exclusive dynamics, like ethnic segregation in urban America or social stratification in caste systems, highlight the challenges of maintaining rigid boundaries and the resulting social inequalities. These themes reveal the dual nature of cultural interactions, where inclusivity fosters innovation and cohesion, while exclusivity can lead to division and conflict. Finally, our exploration underscores the adaptive and resilient nature of cultures. Whether through the revival of traditions in post-colonial societies or the integration of diverse groups in multicultural policies, cultures demonstrate a remarkable ability to adapt to changing circumstances. This resilience is a testament to the enduring strength of cultural identities and their capacity to evolve while preserving core values and practices. In conclusion, our analytic framework has provided a structured and insightful way to examine the rich tapestry of human cultures. By identifying and exploring the patterns of relationships within cultural systems, we have gained a deeper understanding of the fundamental themes that shape cultural dynamics. These unifying themes, interconnectedness, balance, reinforcement, complexity, inclusivity, and resilience, offer valuable insights into the ways cultures sustain themselves and adapt to an ever-changing world. Through this exploration, we have highlighted the intricate and dynamic nature of cultural anthropology, contributing to a more comprehensive and nuanced understanding of human societies.